Hi everyone, in this video you're going to learn how to create the slider in your Do Nothing machine. So this is part 2. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So as you can see here, I'm on my example. So what I already know is that this slider has to fit in this groove of the base. So that means the slider must have the same dimensions as the base sketch of the trapezoid. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to first create a new part studio. You need to do this even if you're starting off fresh or from anything because you needed to have created the base first. So you have to create a new part studio. So I'm going to go to insert new element and click on new part studio. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my front plane, right click on new sketch, right click again and click to view normal sketch plane. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my trapezoid. I'm going to go to my line tool. I'm going to go and draw my base first with then I'm going to go draw my leg, my top base, and my bottom and my second leg as a trapezoid. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dimension. I'm going to make the base 25 millimeters. I'm going to make the height of the trapezoid 25 millimeters as well. So notice carefully how I made the dimension for the height. I'm going to go to dimension. I'm going to select the top followed by the bottom base. So that is going to be 25 millimeters. Then I'm going to make the angle 76 millimeters. So I mean 76 degrees. So I'm going to select the first leg, the next leg, drag out and make it 76 millimeters. So now make sure you drag it out, not in. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these two legs equal using the equal constraint. So how I did that was I went to my constraints, clicked on equal, selected these two legs. Then I clicked out escape to exit out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my point. I'm going to zoom in on the bottom leg, on the bottom leg. Okay, so I'm going to unselect out of point, then I'm going to zoom in. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run my cursor along the base until I see this rectangle. This rectangle signals that this is the midpoint of the trapezoid. When I click, it forms the midpoint. So I'm going to go back into front plane. Then I'm going to click escape. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to use the coincident constraint. And I'm going to coincident the midpoint of this trapezoid to the midpoint of the origin. I mean the midpoint of the plane, which is the origin. Then I'm going to click escape and I'm going to finish the sketch. Then I'm going to go click on extrude and I'm going to make sure I'm going to go into isometric. And I don't want my extrusion to be going this way. I want it to go the opposite way. So next to blind, there should be this arrow. And when you click, it turns the extrusion to the opposite direction. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the extrusion depth 50 millimeters. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish the extrusion. Then I'm going to go to the top plane. I'm going to go to this cube over here and go to the top. Then I'm going to select this rectangular face, right click and click on new sketch. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in a bit and I'm going to hover over this line until I see this black dot. So then I'm going to go to center point circle. I'm going to rehover over the line until I see this midpoint. Then I'm going to drag out until I see these two dotted lines. This shows that this is the midpoint of the entire rectangle. Then I'm going to click and I'm going to expand and then I'm going to click escape. Then I'm going to go to the dimensions. I'm going to click on the circle, drag out and make it 8 millimeters. And then I'm going to finish the sketch. Then I'm going to come into isometric, zoom in a bit, just a bit, and I'm going to go and I'm going to select extrude and I'm going to make sure I select the entire circle. Make sure it's always in solid, not in surface. Then going to the remove extrude and make the removal depth 20 millimeters. Then make sure your merge scope is in 20, in part 1. Then click the green check button and return to isometric. I'm going to hide all of my planes to show you how the slider looks like. So I'm going to go into isometric, and this is what your slider should look like. If you're wondering what the inside of the slider looks like, you can go to the camera and render options, and you can go to translucent. This will show you how the inside of the part looks like. If you want to return to the shaded view of it, you can go to the camera and render options and go to shaded. So that is how you make the slider. I'm just going to delete my example slider. And I'm actually going to first rename my part studio. So I'm going to right click, and I'm going to click on rename and name it slider. And that being said, I'm going to finish the sketch. I don't want to change the color because that seems like the best color for the slider. And yeah, if you have any questions, as always, please do put them down in the comments and I'll be sure to answer them either by responding to the comment or by addressing it in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.